Welcome back, everybody. I'm Edward Bilder, and I'm back today in the studio to talk about two very important topics around EIDL and another very important topic around delayed inflation, guys. All very relevant topics right now, and we have to dive into these a little bit here. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Tune in daily to get your updates on small business and the economy and much, much more. And starting on Mondays, don't forget, I will start at noon Eastern Standard Time this Monday with live streams through YouTube. So tune in on Monday to get some updates and get some interaction with me. Ask all your questions and find out some of the answers live right here on YouTube. And before we get into it, I got to ask a really big and important question, guys. EIDL is nearing a close. Many of you are finding yourselves finally getting funded. I got to ask the question to all small business owners out there. If you're still waiting or if you have received your funds yet, what will you do next? All right. I know it's great to have the funds available inside the bank accounts, especially with all the uncertainties out there right now inside of inflation, supply chain. Many curveballs being thrown towards your businesses right now. So I got to ask the question, what will you do next? And I got to ask the question, is your business suffering right now due to inflation? Is your business suffering right now due to supply chain issues, price increases? Leave me a message in the comments. Let me know what you guys are facing right now. I want to start today's video off with a topic around inflation because the Biden administration came out earlier this week to announce what is causing all of this inflation. And they are pointing at the congestion at the ports as, I don't know, maybe it's a great excuse, but they're basically saying that this is the reason why we're having such inflationary issues. And I'm saying, no, that's probably just the tip of the iceberg. We have so many more problems right now inside supply chain. I want to talk about something that I'm experiencing right now because it really doesn't take a big scientist to understand that, yes, port congestion will cause some issues in the supply chain and will also cause some issues creating some inflation. But that is really just the top of the tip here. There is so much deeper inside of this problem, and it's really sitting like a ticking time bomb right now, okay? Because yes, we're going to pay more money for less services, and we're going to pay more money for having to wait for items to arrive, and we're going to pay more money in freight and shipping cost. But there is so much more happening inside of just the raw material portion of this alone, all right? Now, I'm sure many of you catch in the opening credits that I have multiple engineering degrees, and you got to be saying to yourself, what does engineering degrees have to anything to do with inflation and supply chain right now? Well, it's this, okay? I ran an engineering firm for the past several years where I would look at manufacturing line and production lines and help companies discover how they could save money and increase their margins, whether that was through people, whether that was through automations, whether that was through just changing things around inside their production lines to find more money, okay, right? Increase the margins. Well, I'm getting a lot of phone calls right now from many new manufacturers here in the US who are reaching out to me with concerns about how their margins are shrinking so quickly due to everything happening with supply chain shortages, which will lead to major causes of inflation. And this is delayed inflation, everybody, okay? I want to explain to you what exactly delayed inflation is, okay? Now, the government monetary support was high over the last year here, and the money printer kept on printing, and more money was getting out there to the people. But what the people did, instead of rushing out and spending that money in the consumer world, they actually used it to invest. Investing in real estate, stock market, and crypto, of course. And also, they were out learning as much as possible while they were working remotely from home and really invested in themselves to purchase new courses that they could take online, learn new tricks, and even things like buying my crash course that's found in the description on how you could open and start an Airbnb and cash flow a lot of money, right? So all things that are really needed right now to help you fight against what's happening with inflation. Now, this thing inside of delayed inflation, I want to talk about here for just a minute because we're actually not seeing the full effects of inflation just yet hit the consumer side, okay? And this is due to many reasons, like possibly having already inventories of items that were purchased with the old stock of raw material that came at the old price before the raw material increases really started to hit the suppliers and manufacturers. So what many manufacturers are facing right now are big problems inside of the raw material. This is the price of what they're paying for all of the inputs to make something for you, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a phone, whether it's a washing machine. Take, for example, let's talk about a washing machine. Let's say that it cost $250 to make that washing machine, and they go and they sell it for $500 on the market. and the manufacturer would make $250. Well, let's say, for example, that all of the components that go inside that have gone up 50% to even 100%, and now it cost $400 to make that washing machine. The supplier that sells that washing machine is now only making $100 when they were making $250 before. And that's not a very good thing for them, because right now they're facing having to battle sign-on bonuses and paying wages, higher wage increases to everybody right now. And so that margin is shrinking smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, all right? So what they were profiting before at $250, maybe they're only profiting $100 now. So naturally, they raise the price, but they can't raise it a whole $250. They can only raise it gradually, remember. $100 now, and then maybe $150 a few months down the road, and then maybe $200 a few months down the road, and before you know it, you're paying $750 for a washer that you were once paying $500 for, so that they could regain that margin that they lost. Okay, delayed inflation, guys, and it is going to hit the US here very, very severely, and it's going to be very hard over the next several months. When this finally starts to surface, it will happen to nearly everything that the consumer goes out and buys. And why does this matter? Because right now, so many of you find yourselves on a fixed budget, and you're trying to determine what your next steps are so that you could either realize additional cash flow, invest in something. And right now, you need to be very aware of what's happening inside this delayed inflation so you can determine what your next moves are. If you guys are on a fixed budget, let's say you're inside of your retirement, they did just announce that the cost of living adjustments is going to go up to 5.9%, but that is not nearly enough to handle all of this delayed inflation. All of this data that they have not even seen surface yet is going to really affect that 5.9%. It's going to make it just disappear, okay? This is really going to affect a lot of people out there. So what do you do to battle inflation? Remember, you can always hedge against inflation by investing in things like crypto or even gold. Remember, crypto does follow the path of inflation. So if inflation goes up, crypto does go up, and inflation comes down, crypto would also come down. You're actually seeing that right now, that crypto is on the rise. So what do you think that means for what's happening with inflation? You can also find cash cows right now, methods of investing in something that maybe put a small input in, but it's a cash cow. It basically sends you a lot of cash flow back to you. What's clever right now is that many people inside of their retirement right now are utilizing methods of self-directing their IRAs and self-directing their 401ks to get into different investing opportunities, whether that's inside of crypto, whether that's inside of gold, or even investing with things like Airbnb and real estate. You could actually go out and start investing in Airbnb using your retirement funds. And actually, 20% of all individuals who sign up for my crash course learning how to open an Airbnb are already inside of their retirement. I've gone and taken a little survey, a little study here, and asked if individuals are inside their retirements or not. And I found that 20% of everybody out there is inside their retirements already, all right? So if this does interest you and you'd like to learn more about that, find me on Instagram, and I will set you guys up with some individuals who could talk to you about how you could use self-directed retirement funds to get yourselves into a cash flowing situation. And remember, if you want to learn how to open an Airbnb, I'll rush up to the description and grab the crash course while it is still on sale. I want to have as many people have the opportunity to learn about opening themselves an Airbnb, where you could cash flow through Airbnb in 3 business days, earning an extra $5,000 to $10,000 each and every month. You don't have to own the real estate to do this, and you can start with as little as $50. So check that out in the description if you'd like to learn how to change your futures. Okay, everybody, I want to shift over and I want to talk about EIDL updates here for a moment, because I heard just yesterday or possibly the day before, Jason came out with a huge announcement, and I don't know if everybody caught this, because I know right now many of you are kind of shifting away from EIDL, and fewer people are showing up to watch these videos. But what Jason announced is that calling the SBA can actually slow your progress down right now. And here's why. I mean, there's a very good point inside of this, all right? Every time you call the SBA, let's say you call today and you call tomorrow and you call the next day, and you're literally calling every single day, that customer service representative has to put a note inside of your portal, inside of your file, that says you called the SBA and you asked about progress or status updates or whatever your question was. You asked a simple question, and that shows up as the very top note on your file. All right. So when you go to get progressed in this process and the next person opens up to review your file, if you called every single day, that list of notes, I mean, it just climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs. They actually have to dive all the way down through all of those notes to actually discover and figure out exactly where you are in the process, okay? So what the SBA is urging you to do now is to make one final call, okay? One final call to check in on the status and ask questions to the customer service rep, whether or not your Form 2202 is on file, whether or not your 4506T is on file. Ask if your board resolution has been received if you are an entity. Ask if your voided check is there. Ask if they've received your information around your hazard insurance, okay? When you finish that call, ask that customer service rep to make one final note that says, during a phone call, we conducted a review and discovered that this applicant has everything available on file to process through the EIDL loan or loan modification process. Everything is here and everything is ready to be processed. End the call there, say thank you very much. And what will actually happen for you is that when the next loan officer finally picks up your file here, you'll get that speed. They're not going to have to go through everything here. They're basically just going to go to the top line, discover that it's all here, go out, pull the documents, and they are going to move on much more quickly here than having to go through several lines and read each and every notation that's found inside of your file, okay? This will help you get into the process much faster. And last, I mentioned this a lot on my channel. If you are still stuck in the process, if you're stuck in recon, stuck in the loan modification, you've been stuck there for months, reach out for congressional support. Reach out to your favorite congressmen or women. They all have areas on their websites that can help you with EIDL support. And you ask them to sign a release, which allows them to speak on your behalf with the SBA, and it puts you into a high priority express line. And I'm telling you, within a week's time, you could find yourselves funded after signing that release. That's going to do it for today, folks. I thank you so much for tuning in for another video. Don't forget to turn on the bell notification and subscribe to the channel to get your updates here daily. And starting Monday, live streams right here on YouTube, starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. We'll talk for about an hour, answer some questions that are hovering out there that people are still waiting for answers on. And guys, if you'd like to continue to support the channel, remember you could rush up to the description and grab that crash course where you could learn how you could open an Airbnb today and start figuring out how you could cash flow an extra $5,000 to $10,000 each and every month while you're sleeping, okay? You could actually make this money while you're sleeping. If you guys would like to learn how you could partner with me in my current B&B business, find me on Instagram and ask about my Zoom calls. That's going to do it for today, folks. I wish you all the best, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye for now.